So are you one of those people that waste money on boots like I did? Well, this is the video for you. Maybe. So the first criteria or category I'm going to compare boots on is fit. So, best I feel are going to be the Cavallo Treks or flex boots. The reason for the Cavallos is that they're so tolerant of sort of any flare or deviation from a normal good hoof. Treks will probably do a pretty good job of staying on. They're quite simple to adjust. It's really only push this down, pull the Velcro across as tight as you need. These are really, really good for sort of, I guess, new to barefoot horses that don't really have nice feet or they've only just got shoes off. Not too adjustable, pretty easy to put on. Quite wide, so normally there's a lot of flare. So they should do a good job of staying on, which is why I like them for in terms of fit. Flex boots, they're really, really, really flexible. So these do a really, really good job of staying on the hoof. I think a lot of their retention sort of is due to the length and the shape and the materials at the front here. I guess if I get some glue-ons. So here's some scoot skins. You can see here that basically with the glue-ons, it's the glue here that holds the boot onto the hoof. So it's the design here in the flex boots that holds the boot onto the hoof. They don't have much in terms of sort of adjustability and heel height. There's two sort of set lines that you can use here. Both my horses use the back one, or the top one I should say, and they both have very different feet, I should say as well. And yeah, got the one strap, goes on like this, stays not super tight but sort of a little bit loose, so then the boot can stay on, flex, stay on the hoof. You have the gaiters. I don't think these actually do anything in terms of fit. These really only stop rubbing. There's a few little bolts. They don't really protrude or stick out like some other hoof boots, so I'm not sure if there's really a problem with sort of, or a need for the gaiters of these boots, but I don't know, came with gaiters. I use them so far, they do a pretty good job. Love the fit. So yeah, number one in terms of fit, in terms of performance boots, sort of really, really good fit. So yeah, ranking the Treks high just because you can fit them on anything. Mid-range, I'm going to say the Exploras. The reason why is that they are quite adjustable and they have, yeah, they're sort of really, really made, or really well made, really well thought out sort of boot. At about 1 centimetre front to back by changing the bolts here. Got a few different heel heights. I think there's actually, so there's 3 holes here, 2 holes here. I think in reality that means you have 4 or 5 heel heights, but yeah. So you can lift the heel at the back, and then to tighten, basically you have a pastern strap. Not quite that sort of effective, it's more of an emergency if the boot is going to go flying. Most of the retention is done from these straps here, which go around the side and sort of wrap the boot on. So yeah, mid-range. Also mid-range, Easyboots, or I should say the Easyboot Fury. Easyboot Glove I'm also going to give sort of a mid sort of ranking because similar to the Treks, they're really forgiving. They'll sort of stay on if your horse doesn't have the best feet. Relatively simple to tighten with the Velcro straps. So chuck them over there. The Furies. Furies have about 2 centimeters front to back. So you can change the heel height here just by changing these holes and also manually sliding the heel captivator up or down. But yeah, you can also, I'll pull this out. I'll try to. If you look inside the boot here, It's a bit hard to see. But this is going to move forward or back roughly 2 centimeters, simply by loosening the screws here, pulling this up or down. So these are actually the only boots that fit my Standy. She's an ex-trotter, so she had really long feet because of the shoes that she was, or the shoes that were put on her, I should say. So as her feet change shape from going barefoot, I'm slowly bringing this back in, and yeah, not having to buy a new boot, which is awesome. Lowest, quite controversial maybe, is the scoot boots. Now, you might think, why the hell is he giving scoot boots a bad review for fit? That's because they're not actually adjustable. The only thing that you can do with scoots really is put these on, but these will stretch. You can't, once they've stretched, you can't tighten. So if you go through a trim cycle, they'll be tight, and then as the hoof slowly gets wider, they'll stretch, and then after you trim, they'll still be stretched to the widest part, or I guess the widest point in your trimming cycle. So they always get a bit looser and you can never bring them back. You can also, you can't do anything with the heel or the sides. So basically, where's my skin, or my scoot skin gone? The difference between the skins and the regular scoots is basically the heel, all in the heel. This actually does nothing. I've had better luck with the skin staying on with glue than I have with any of the mud straps or custom sort of hacks, yeah, with scoots. Now, I should also mention that scoots, if they match your horse's hoof and they fit, they'll be pretty good. They're solid. But the problem is, unless your horse has exact same heel height, similar sort of curvature or roundness, similar height, they won't work. So, low ranking in terms of fit for the scoots. Number one, for value, is good old Treks. You can pick these up for 80 bucks and they'll last a few cycles. Like, to be honest, I bought a few. The twos lasted maybe one trim, then they were too big, but I've kept them in case I ever get another horse or my mum wants to use them, because they'll probably fit something in the future, and they're so cheap to buy new. Only 80 bucks, last ages. Might need to replace the Velcro, but it's pretty cheap and easy. The other top ranking for value is going to be the Explorers. Now, I'll talk a little bit about this next, but compound, pretty hard wearing, but still quite flexible, so you get a lot of use. These are, I think, very high performance, very well made. Last a long time, should get a lot of value out of these boots. I think they'll last longer than, say, flex boot, scoot boot, but yeah, similar in terms of really good performance. So, mid-range value, got the flex boot. Why mid-range value? Because it's so soft, it's gonna wear quite fast. Well, with a bit of perspective, I've had these for 6 months and they look fairly beat up, but I think I can get another 6 months or so out of them again. So yeah, they'll wear modder really quickly. I think you need to replace the shells every year if you use them regularly. Easyboot, probably mid-value. The reason I didn't rank these as sort of a high in value is because I don't actually think they're high performance, in that, sure, they're adjustable, they'll last a fairly long time, but the bottom of the boot, I think, is quite poor. So, last criteria going to be grip, and I'll talk a little bit about tread compound. So I've got a mountain bike tyre here. This is really good for gripping loose, sort of mud, loose rocks, a bit of everything really. This boot here, which is the Easyboot Fury, is what I think a really, really poor tread design. It's also quite stiff. So the boot, really, really hard to flex. So it won't change shape around objects. So something that doesn't change shape, doesn't change flex, will give you lesser grip. So, bad tread compound, I should say bad tread design, hard tread compound equals bad grip. This is why I rank these lowly in terms of grip and tread. Scoots, see here, much better design, so I rank these higher. Also, on the low category, Cavallo Treks. It's a pretty design, it's not functional at all, it's not really resemble, or it doesn't really resemble a horse's hoof at all. This hoof wall is way too wide and flat. Terrible grip, will catch rocks, will catch mud, and yeah, once that happens, no grip. Best in terms of grip, got the Scoots, got the Explora, and the Flex boots. Flex boots, as I sort of mentioned earlier, really, really good grip because they're so soft, and fairly clever tread compound. I should say fairly clever tread design, I've said that twice now. Got some little holes, little lines, so as sort of these little lines touch the ground, they'll expand, give a little bit more bite. Soft compound, as the boot hits the ground, it'll be able to change shape. Basically, what you want is this sort of shape, which just resembles, like you've seen any picture of a wild Brumby, something like that. They'll have nice sort of shape like this. And this allows the hoof sort of to use any sort of rock or thing as sort of, I don't know, a good point of grip. So yeah, top tier for grip, Flex boots, Scoots, Explora. Now the Explora are slightly harder than say Scoot or a Flex. Scoot are a little bit harder than the Flex, but these are one step harder. However, they differ in that the front or the toe is less flexible than the back because they have the sort of cut out frog design here. Now this is really cool. So what this means is that the boot's more flexible in the rear, which I think is quite helpful. Weakness is though, as you can see, holes really aren't wide enough in hoof boots, so they tend to pick up rocks. So once that happens on a ride, it's pretty much there for the rest of the ride, unless you're going to stop, pick out rocks with a hoof pick, but I don't know anyone who really does that. So I think that's it. There's my 6 boots. Hope that's helpful, and I hope it stops someone wasting money like I did and buying the wrong boots. Peace.